Let's talk now, however, to Harry Phibbs, columnist at Conservative Home. Harry, very good morning to you.
Morning.
Good to talk to you. We've got plenty to talk about this morning. We've got, of course, the aftermath of the Taylor Swift scenario. I think for the first time today, there's no stories about Labour and Taylor Swift in the papers, which is, I think, the first time for about 3.5, 4 weeks. So, however, there is another story this morning that about 100 of their staff are off to America to help the Democrats win the election against Donald Trump. I'm not quite sure why they're doing that, and I'm not sure whether in America it's even going to be very welcome. Lots of people in America on the conservative side are saying this is actually illegal.
Yes, I think it's if you go over as a volunteer, it's legal, but if you're paid, it's illegal.
Right.
And this message was that Labour Party staff were going over and would be they'd find accommodation for them. Well, if they're being employed as staff paid by the Labour Party, and then you know while continuing to take their salaries, they're going off campaigning in America. Then I think that does look a bit suspicious. But in any case, it's a very foolish thing to do from the Americans' point of view. I don't think they take kindly to the British telling them what to do anymore. So I think it's probably counterproductive in terms of any help they're trying to give to.
Yeah. Well, it's also counterproductive, is it not, to what might likely be the case, which is when the new Trump administration comes in, when Donald Trump wins the election in November, which is looking increasingly likely.
Yes, and it's incredible actually that there would be such a basic error that normally the diplomacy is very much this is up to the American people. America's a great ally. We'll work with whoever the president is. And that's such an obvious line to take, and then to undermine it in this way. It's just very stupid.
Yeah, it is very stupid, but that's entirely in keeping with everything else that they're doing so far in government. They don't seem to be giving it any thought. They just seem to be kind of suddenly doing stuff without any regard for the reaction that the public is going to have to it, whether it's here or in the US.
And particularly someone like Donald Trump. He doesn't take, he's pretty unforgiving. He does, he judges people a lot on whether they, whether they're friends or foe, and it's the kind of thing that would particularly rankle with him. And if as you say, the moment he's the favourite, if he does get there, then there will be some diplomatic challenges because he's very much saying, America first and looking at America's interests, and he'll be strong in terms of defending America, but a bit inclined towards being isolationist, a bit inclined to say, well, what's it got to do with us, if Russia invades Ukraine, that type of mentality, and which I actually think is quite worrying. But then it's all the more important to try to have strong relations and strong diplomatic ties with America to keep them helping to defend NATO in the Western world.
Yeah, absolutely right. We're getting ever closer to Budget Day, just a couple of weeks away, really. Front page of the Daily Telegraph, it says Rachel Reeves will cut benefits by £3 billion to tackle the worklessness crisis. Now, this was apparently Conservative proposal, which was put forward by about sort of several months ago, and the plan is to reform the work capability assessment. It seems to me whenever this happens, whenever any government tries to tackle the benefits culture, they fail to actually get anywhere because it's so complex and so kind of, internecinally linked with all sorts of other things that they can't really do it.
Well, the Conservatives did make some progress with introducing universal credit with Ian Duncan Smith that did simplify it and did mean that people were better off working than on benefits, but maybe not by all that
well,
much.
Except it didn't really work, though, did it? Because we've now got 9.4 million people who are economically inactive, including about 5 million who are on these benefits.
Yeah, well, it worked for a bit, and then with the lockdown, people got out of the habit of working, and now it's worse than ever. But no, there was, to be fair to Ian Duncan Smith, there was a period where the benefits dependency was being tackled quite effectively, but now it's much worse than ever, and we've got a situation where it's very easy for people to get the GP to sign off that they're unable to work, and they've got a big incentive for that because they get over £100 a week extra on their benefits if they're saying that they're unable to work, and often it's to do with depression. And so, of course, we need to tackle that incentive for people to be signed off as unable to work, but also for the people who might genuinely have problems with their mental health or genuinely have some difficulties, try and find what sort of work they could do, rather than just assume that it's impossible for people to do any work at all.
Yeah, exactly right. Let's talk a little bit about the leadership race. We interviewed Kemi Badenoch this week, and we were playing it out all of yesterday. Funnily enough, just after we did that, Christopher Chope went onto ITV's Meridian politics channel and started talking about the work-life balance that Kemi Badenoch had, and said that basically she spent too much time looking after her children. Have a look at this.
Can I just clarify that? You're saying that a woman shouldn't be standing to be leader of a political party because she's got young kids?
I'm not saying that at all. I was one of Margaret Thatcher's strongest and staunchest supporters.
What's giving you that concern, though, Sir Christopher?
What gives me the concern is because I understand from talking to colleagues that Kemi spends a lot of time with her family, which I don't resent at all. But the consequence of it is that you can't spend all your time with your family as at the same time being leader of the opposition.
I mean, what sort of cupboard did they get this guy out of? You know, somewhere in the 14th century. And this is what Kemi Badenoch said to me when I asked her about her family sort of commitments.
I think that there is a sacrifice that will always be made about politicians. As much as I would love it, we cannot ask for family-friendly all the time. Once in a while, yes. During this leadership contest, for instance, in August, I took 10 days off to be with my children. I promised them that we would have a holiday, but that was the right time. Parliament was in recess, and that was what was right for my family. I would not do that at this point in time. You have to do the work hard, and then you can play hard when you're down tools. And I think that we need to stop talking about the Prime Minister having life more family-friendly. We need to make life more family-friendly for the people out there. That's what our job is.
I mean, if you wanted a bigger contrast between old Tory and new Tory, I think that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yes, it always is a genuine challenge for people in demanding jobs, whether in politics or anything else. But I do think that there shouldn't be a sort of Labour theory of value, that you've just got the value of the amount of work you put in. It is also about having somebody with good judgment and ability, and I think that's where Kemi Badenoch, if she's got the right ideas and the way to communicate, that's the key skill. If she's capable and knows what she stands for, and I think it is possible for her to do an effective job if she becomes leader of the Conservative Party, while also balancing her family. I mean, do we want to say that we don't want mothers to be involved in politics, or fathers for that matter, that we don't want people with families? I think that would be a strange conclusion to come to.
Absolutely right. I mean, just as a matter of interest, Harry, if you wish to tell me, are you backing Kemi or are you backing Robert Jenrick?
I'm is it what you say? Treat them mean, keep them keen. I'm going to wait and before casting my vote, just see how they get on. But I think they're both actually a very good candidates. Both are strong, self-confident Conservatives who recognise that the Conservative government went in the wrong direction in terms of having too much tax and spend, and that the Conservatives need to get back to proper principles, and that's a message that they both put forward. So I'm actually encouraged that they both got through to the final.
OK, well, we shall see. We'll find out on November the 2nd. Thank you very much indeed. Harry Phibbs there, columnist at Conservative Home.